You know what else is getting off, Matt? Everybody who was part of the massive round of layoffs.
Yep. So what we're going to open with today is a topic that I like to call PlayStation had a bunch of layoffs. And now it's time for us to look at them and say, is your business model sustainable? Because in the article brought to you by Tech Radar, they report that 8% of the company got laid off. Multiple big name studios. You had Naughty Dog layoffs. You had Insomniac layoffs. 900 people overall got laid off. What the hell is going on at Sony right now? And how much of it is the Bungie purchase? And how much of it is their games are too expensive? They don't sell enough because they're all exclusive. And they're hemorrhaging money to be able to put on products that people used to glorify.
I've never seen somebody so upset that they have an inferior console. So let me explain to you the problem that has affected Sony, Embracer Group, EA, some studios at Xbox, literally industry-wide.
They tried to be Microsoft and couldn't do it.
No, because you have had actually
we had
layoffs
because of a merger, and we got rid of our QA team. Relax. This was real.
Drink the Coke.
This was real developers and real talent layoffs. We covered.
Oh, so you're saying you didn't have real talent?
No, I'm saying they were customer service. They got laid off and offshore. That is very different from during a merger to get your customer service team cut for overseas support versus laying off the people that make your games.
You done?
Oh, I'm done.
Good.
But I've just started. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Just let it out. Okay. So clearly what we've seen industry-wide is a shrinking post-COVID, going into what is due to be a financially tumultuous year. Not just Sony, not just EA. Frankly, the only people who seem insulated from this are Nintendo, which is wild because, like I said in the intro, their marketing team should be the first people on the unemployment line. I have no problem saying that.
Last time there was large-scale layoffs in the video game industry like a year and a half ago, Nintendo gave everybody raises. The fact that they are able to operate their business the way that they do is because we keep buying inferior games. It has to cost them $45 to make a new Pokemon game.
4.5, like $4.50.
I was gonna give them $45 to make a new Pokemon game. It's all existing assets, and then they borrow from Legend of Zelda. What was the one on the N64? There was two of them: Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. They borrow assets from that and previous Pokemon games, and boom, new Pokemon game. But we'll get into them.
So let's focus on PlayStation here and industry wide, and we can kind of loop in the EA thing. I think that overall, you're seeing an industry that is scooting backwards here. Hold on, is that my wife? My wife. Hold on, we're gonna have to.
My wife.
Overall, we're seeing an industry that's scooting backwards here, and you pose this as: is this a business model thing? Is it a Bungie thing? I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that I'm ready to be at the point where I'm like, Insomniac does not need to make 150 X-Men games, and Naughty Dog did not need to make a live service game, and Sony did not need to buy Bungie. All of the above is the answer to all of these things, because you didn't need the studio who couldn't run their own live service game well telling your people who make really good cinematic games how to do their games, because you just burned a whole bunch of cash on something that could have gone to a new IP, Part 3, Uncharted 5, whatever, right? Yep. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Overall, in terms of this, I mean, a lot of the studios were pissed. You know, if you saw Insomniac put out that entire letter about this, they were like, meh, this is wildly uncool.
Yep.
900 people is a not insignificant number. That's a massive amount of people. You had Hiroki Totoki come out and say to Bungie that they are not accountable. They make great games. They're real creative and it's real fun, but you guys can't deliver on time. You're bad with money, and that's a problem when you're running an actual business.
Yep.
So I feel like this is just dovetailing out of that. Thoughts?
So I think I want to get your opinion, and I'll give you my blame pie scenario, and I'll add a piece to this because yes, I think that part of it is that they had 2 major IPs canceled in the last couple of years, or in the last 6 months to a year, and they made the really bad purchase of Bungie. It was a reactionary purchase. The Bungie purchase cost a lot of liquid cash, and then they pulled the live service game from Naughty Dog, and then they pulled Marathon from Bungie, the studio they just purchased. Those are both indefinitely canceled, if not permanently canceled. I think Marathon's indefinitely, and the one from Naughty Dog is just, it got canned. At the same time, I think that even outside of those 2 microcosms of their their venture into live service games is the bigger issue. And I'm back on the soapbox, baby. Their games cost too much to be a single person narrative 19 to 25 hour game.
Did you see how the CPA held you dead to rights that I've been saying that for a long time in the comments?
He absolutely did not. He said that it was 95% myself, which it is.
But it's not like, but 5% is not 100%, which means I have said that in the past. So as long as we're clear that I have.
Yeah, you have said that when you're literally backed into a corner, and that's just where your like fanboyishness, you needed to admit it, because the first step of identifying and curing a problem is knowing that you have one. But what I was getting to is blame pie. So the 4 major factors of what is going on at Sony right now is: 1, their games are too expensive and they don't sell enough because they're only working on their own console. So they're only in PlayStation. 2, they bought Bungie and it was a huge mistake. 3, they had to cut a bunch of IP that they just tried to put out. And 4, normal economic strife due to bad economic times. It's a rough post-COVID for the video game industry and a majority of other industries as a whole. So of those 4 subsections, what am I giving the biggest piece of the pie? And I have to say it's that the games are too expensive.
Yeah, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. That makes zero sense. That makes zero sense predicated
no. Hold on.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Let me explain the pie. Let me explain the pie.
Wrongly.
The only
incorrectly.
Let me explain the pie.
With zero idea what you're talking about.
You cannot give credence to Bungie being a bad purchase and that they should not have made those live service games without identifying that the reason they made those 2 choices was because their games are too expensive and they take too long to develop, and they were shit out of luck with funding. They needed to take an answer, and they were like, Microsoft does big purchases, Microsoft does live service, we need this in our ecosystem. Boom. They made those 2 purchases, and that's why I give a lot of the credence to their business model is not sustainable. Large, exclusive first-party games are not the only thing that you could be known for anymore, and then I give about 40% of it to just economic strife. It's bad economic times. Out of here on it.
So large first-party games are not what you could be known for anymore. That's the hill you're gonna die on, and I'm gonna dead to rights here. 1-2 knockout punch.
It is not sustainable to do exclusive console sales as the only way to make your money.
Interesting. We've had the same comment. There's a little company that we're going to talk about later on in the show here that has built its entire business model off of big expensive games that people will light themselves.
Those are not big expensive games, and you know it. I don't see Nintendo coming out and saying they spent $250 million to make Pokemon. Get out of here. That is a weak.
What do you think Tears of the Kingdom's budget was?
150 max.
You're just pulling numbers out of your ass. You're better than
this. Where am I supposed to get that?
Research. Come with good points, because you're not going to tell me that people can't
survive
off of exclusives.
How much is it? And the business model for the Switch compared to Sony is a huge difference.
Not much.
It is.
How?
It just significantly is.
How?
Their assets are reused constantly. The life cycle of their product is way longer, And on top of it, their console is cheaper and has a wider reach of who their target audience is. Children can't play The Last of Us.
Hold on.
They'll play Pokemon, though.
I will find the budget for Tears of the Kingdom because I'm not seeing it right here. But I assure you that your idea that you can't survive off of exclusives is wrong simply because somebody else is currently winning at it.
I know, but they're not a 1-to-1 comparison.
Because you refuse to acknowledge that.
No, it's just not. You can't tell me that a game like, first of all, Tears of the Kingdom is an expansively bigger game than Spider-Man. You can't tell me it's not. It's huge compared to the amount of content that you get out of Spider-Man. So they put more, even if they did spend the same amount of money, you're getting and giving more product out of it. And then they're floated by the plethora of Nintendo games that sell and microtransact more than anything that Sony puts out. You're telling me that in a heartbeat, Sony wouldn't want Pokemon?
Anybody would want Pokemon. You guys would want Pokemon.
Exactly.
You tried to get Pokemon on your shitty service.
It has Pokemon. They are the IP from Sony and the IP from Nintendo are not the same. They're not comparable, and their demographics are not comparable. They're not even in the same genre. Like, yes, they're both technically consoles. One is a handheld, one is not.
Until you put it on your TV and then it's not.
Stop it. Who does that? Who bought the Switch for TV? Nobody. They bought it for handheld.
All those
they're
people
not the same.
All those happy families in the commercial, Matt.
They're not the same. They're not the same.
Should've
Vamp
left you
for a
in New
minute.
Orleans.
Yeah, they're not. Vamp for a minute because I'm gonna get the budget for Tears of the Kingdom.
So what it all comes down to here, folks, is that Matt is categorically wrong. We'll never admit that he is.
And you have no proof to say that
am
I'm
I vamping
wrong.
Or are you
I'm just saying. I just needed to get that in.
I'm okay. Back to the vamp. But the point is, I am also wrong, which means we're both right, and you will never know the difference. The true reason you're listening to this is because we are seeing an industry-wide layoff fest right now. You're seeing it in tech. You're seeing it in gaming. You're seeing it everywhere that doesn't require a hammer and nail to build things. Would you agree, Matt?
Yes.
Okay. So while this is not an isolated incident, it is one to keep an eye on going into the future here. I would say that, we're getting PS5 Pro probably this holiday. Xbox is saying they're going to shit out another terrible console, probably not too long after that.
It's just going to be digital.
It's going to
it's rumored to be the white.
Pro is going to take Xbox. So what do? You do Series Z over there?
What?
Because you're another marketing.
What games are you going to play? What games are you going to put on the PS5 Pro? Nothing? Anything at all? It's going to release before 2025 when you have 0 games to play and 0 games to launch it with. Stop it. You're not getting it until 2025 mid-year.
So you don't think we're getting PS5 Pro this holiday?
0 shot. For what? For what game?
Hold on.
For what game?
Hold on. What if you're wrong?
Make the bet. I'm not. Just like the Nintendo Switch 2 is not coming out this year.
Well, they've said that. So that's not a bet.
I was right about that one as well.
PS5 Pro this holiday.
It's not going to happen. They don't have any fucking games.
Or
PS5 Pro this holiday, I'll buy one. How about that?
No, that's low table stakes, Matthew. I don't need that from you. You already have a.
I'll buy you one. Fuck it.
Buy my own. No. I need you to feel every second of this loss. And in order to do that, which you'll thank me for in the end, I'm going to Miyagi you here.
Yep.
You have to play Bloodborne all the way through every boss. Matt,
how many bosses?
Such an easy
DLC
win.
No,
you don't even have to play the DLC, which is arguably the best DLC FromSoft has ever made before Shadow.
Until the Elden Ring.
Oh,
until
Shadow
the
Elden
Ring. Yeah.
Okay. Fishing Hamlet, Maria's Astral Clock Tower, Orphan of Khazis,
whatever. Okay, I'll beat Bloodborne. That's what you're asking if I'm wrong?
No, that's what I'm telling you when you're wrong.
The only caveat I will put to this is if you are about to pull up an article that says that it has a confirmed release date for 2024, then I do not agree to that.
Oh, but Matt.
I'm working on the information I have. If you
But
have other information as of right now,
speculations and rumors, which I won't waste a man of your aptitude, stature, and overall towering intellect with, as you Google PS5 Pro suspected release date.
When's it coming out? I'll take the bet.
I would recommend you start with the saw cleaver or the axe, the threaded cane. Fun, but that's the chikorita of starting weapons. Go with the blunderbuss. It makes parrying easier. You don't need a shield or the lantern.
Chikorita is not a good example.
The threaded cane is the chikorita of Bloodborne weapons.
Let's get into EA. We've talked enough about Sony. Bobby's wrong categorically, and a lot of what is wrong with Sony is because they make games that are way too expensive and they're not good content, and they're not good content.
How many Game of the Years does Xbox have? Like the shit you say is just verbally stupid. You're better than this.
I'm just saying. In 2024, they are not releasing anything good. That is a factual statement.
I love how when you talk fast when you're scared of your points.
I'm just saying. So we're going into EA, and EA is a very similar situation where they had 6% of their people laid off, 670 people in total. And what they're doing, and is what I believe Sony should do, and a very simple solution, and also a huge departure for where we used to be with gaming and where we are going and how it's going to track directly into the way that movies changed their genre about 10, 15 years ago. EA has announced that they are shifting completely away from any new IP to completely owned and operated their own IP, already existing, sports, and massive online games that they already have in development. I wanted to bring this up for 2 points. One, it is too expensive in 2024 to put out a game that you don't know is going to sell. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make these games, and if they flop, you were screwed. So you either A, need a business model that doesn't rely on that, Game Pass, or you need to make sure they're golden. And the only way to do that is to leverage already existing IP. I'm assuming EA is going to quadruple down on Star Wars, similar to the way that Sony is going to use Marvel. The sports games, I don't know what they're going to try to get out of the sports games. The fact that they're charging us $70 for... No. Like, if they're trying to squeeze more out of it. Like, I don't know how it could possibly get worse for the gamer than sports games.
What are you talking about?
No. I'm not saying that they're going to try. I'm not saying that they're not going to get more money and that the sports games are not a sustainable business model. I'm saying it sucks for the people that own and enjoy sports games.
Those are the lowest rung of people. Those are the card pack opening. Have you seen the videos of people lighting themselves on fire when they pull a Ronaldo rookie card in EA Football Club, formerly FIFA?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Come on.
It's gonna, like, they're already charging these people $70 for a DLC. How much more could they possibly charge you with the sports games? How much?
Want to bet? Because those
that's what I'm saying.
Pulling Ronaldo cards are gonna.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's only gonna get worse for the sports people moving forward, and then it just gets screwed for all of the multiplayer people. So the Apex Legends fans out there, games going to microtransaction hell. The microtransaction in Apex is already a shitty situation. It's gonna get worse. Want that reskin? $160. You know, there's some skins in Apex that are $160 per skin. It's insane. I only have 3.
How is it that you are one person who I have such amicable respect and brotherly love for, and you found a way to just pick all of the worst fandoms and put them under your umbrella?
No. They said this. Did you not read the article? They said it in the article.
I'm talking about I understand. I fully believe you that there's $100, $60 Apex skin. What I find funny is that, let me go through your list of loving L's. Sonic.
Who's on a flagship game for your console now.
Naruto.
I'm teaching my future kids that Naruto was Jesus. There's nothing you could do to stop me.
Pentiment.
I tried to play Pentiment again on the
Baldur's
plane.
Gate. Like, when will you learn? When will you get taste?
I'm just saying, two of the games that the only two video games you just mentioned, both got 10 out of 10s on Metacritic. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
In all seriousness, EA basically looked at their balance sheet and said, oh, 90% of our profits come from the top 10% of our games. What if we took everything that's not Apex Legends or Star Wars or EA Football Club and just didn't make that anymore? Makes sense. Okay.
But do you know why this is sustainable? Because what is similar about all three of those things?
They're live service cash grab bad games.
They have constant content. They're not all live service. I wouldn't consider sports games live service, and I wouldn't consider the Star Wars games live service either. They have a game out every single goddamn year.
So here is a good point of why Star Wars is much like Mario, because in lieu of what Sony was trying, like Sony tried it and failed with their Smash Brothers clone.
What was it?
All-Star Brawl. It was Smash Brothers, but with Sony characters.
Yep.
What they understand with Star Wars, why that license is so valuable, and what they understand with Mario and why he's so versatile, is because it's the world where you could say, oh, people don't buy the game where Mario jumps down the pipe anymore. What if we made him play golf? What if he drove a car? What if he was a XCOM style, turn-based dice rolling terrible game? Oh, Star Wars? You want an Uncharted Star Wars game? Cool, here you go. You want an Uncharted Star Wars open world game? A Star Wars Far Cry game? Here you go. You want a first-person shooter?
Favorite game? What's your favorite game? It's Star Wars now.
Yep.
And it sells.
And so I think them saying, oh my God, guys, we could just keep doing this. Boom.
But they do it quick and cheap.
No, what they do is they spread it out. Okay, because the same studio that is making Star Wars Jedi whatever didn't make the Star Wars Rogue Squadron game, didn't make Battlefront. Right?
So what you're saying is Sony can't ship a game.
No, what I'm saying is if Sony, in lieu of purchasing studios, the same way that they're trying to make movie properties out of all of their studios, and almost like they tried to do with Horizon Zero Dawn, where they're like, it's now a PSVR 2 game, is to spin off your most popular IPs so that you can have many projects working at once in different realms. Does that make sense?
It does, but at the same time,
I just have to stop you right there because I forgot at the beginning, and I was going to do a whole bit, and I forgot about it. Do you know what today is, Matt?
March 1st.
Mm-hmm. You know it's the 1-year anniversary of?
No.
The PSVR 2 launching.
They got the 2 new ones coming.
Oh, how has it been a year since the greatest VR console of all time launched?
I don't know. Name 3 games that came out for it.
So my heart goes out to everyone at EA. And that's it.
So hold on. No. You asked me a direct question and then interrupted your own question with an aside about the PSVR 2.
I forgot the bit.
What is the difference between what Sony's doing with trying to get into TV, video games, and the VR? They're selling all of those products to a very niche market that enjoys all 3, or very tiny, little bigger than niches that enjoy one of them. Instead, EA is saying, this is all for you. It would be like if instead of a Last of Us TV show, a Last of Us remake, a Last of Us new game, it all came to just the PS5. then they would be doubling down on their IP in a sustainable way.
But so we're not in agreement there, because that's what I said that they should do.
No. The fact that it's TV, the game on, or the remaster, which I don't consider a game and don't consider that a usable form of this, and then VR2 is different than EA saying, here's Star Wars 1, and then a year later, different version of Star Wars, and then a year later, different version of Star Wars. But they're all playable on the same console.
Correct. It's not. I'm saying that that's what they should do.
Yes, but I think the TV and the VR should be completely out of it. I don't think those two things.
Correct. Yes. We are in agreement. That's exactly what I said. Yeah.
Okay. It did not seem like that's what you were saying. It seemed like you were...
What I'm saying is, if we had gotten... Astrobot is a great example, because that is like our current Sackboy, and he's the most family friendly. Mm-hmm. We had gotten an Astro Kart racer, Astrobot platformer. Something like you could spin that off a couple different ways. They tried with Horizon, right? Like and they said we're getting a Horizon MMO and all this kind of stuff. Like,
where's the execution though?
It's not there. I think they have everybody has sort of seceded from the movie TV space because nobody had ever seen it done well. And Sony's landed the blow now where, one of their flagship shows got nominated for an Emmy, and Pedro Pascal just won a Golden Globe. Like,
yep.
The flag's on the hill. This is their game, and nobody's going to touch them. The same way they do.
I hope they're the only people that do it.
What?
I literally hope that Sony's the only people that ever do this ever.
Because they're the only ones who do it well.
Yes. Like, if nobody else, like, the Halo TV show should be canceled.
You love that. You love that.
I haven't even watched season 2 yet.
Yes,
I'm waiting for Sarah to come back so we could binge the whole thing in one night and get it over with, because I have to watch it. I just love the lore of Halo. Like, I can't not watch it. I don't care how bad it is. But after The Last of Us, just every video game TV show needs to either be like that or don't make it. But to get back to our point of EA doubling down on what they're good at, they're, like you eloquently said, top 10% of their game makes 90% of their revenue. There's no reason to make any of the other 90% of games. Just get rid of them. We don't need them. Cut costs. We need game. Don't care what they are. As long as they follow, we already own it. Star Wars. It's a sports game, Madden, or it's a Apex Legends where literally farming you for money as you buy $160 skins. Sony just doesn't want to do that. And I'm happy that they eventually landed on Marvel. But I don't think if they're going to keep throwing $250K or $250 million. I
would say $250K is...
Yeah, $250K would be nothing. If they're going to keep throwing $250 million at each of these IP, they're just going to burn through cash. It's not sustainable. It is not sustainable for them to continuously do that and put out content year after year after year after year after year, throwing that much money and keeping them exclusive. If you want to make the Wolverine game next year and have it release on PC and Steam, done. I will say no. I will have no comments about Sony's current business model. Completely okay with it. Don't bring it to Xbox. It's fine. It doesn't need to be there. It needs to be on Steam. And I think the biggest thing that I took away from Helldivers 2 is that there is no reason for it to not be there. You think Helldivers 2 is the cultural phenomenon that it is right now without Steam? Zero shot. You don't think Spider-Man 2 would have been a monstrous success, potentially Game of the Year winner, if it had released on Steam day one?
Come on, stop.
It's not. Baldur's Gate was going to win because it's a better game. Hand over, it just is. But their business model compared to what they are trying to do, what EA said they were going to do, but they don't have the backbone to keep releasing games. And they need to put the games out there's nothing slated until the middle of 2025, and then you have one expected game.
God,
it takes too long.
I can't wait for you to.
You don't think there's a problem in Sony's development cycle right now?
I do. I just know that when the games come, it's going to be fantastic.
And what if it doesn't?
Well, it will. So, any other bad
predictions
you got?
You'll buy a PS5 Pro this cycle, or are you going to wait for games to come out?
What does this cycle mean?
In 2024. In 2024, you'll buy. If it comes out in 2024, you're going to buy one?
You know, I've just made possibly the largest financial purchase of my entire life. So I'm lucky if I'm buying food.
That's fair.
I'd like to. Yeah, why not?
Okay. Let me ask you this. And I'm saying relative to itself, relative to Sony and Sony's metrics, is the PS5 Pro going to do well if it drops holiday season?
Yes.
By their own metrics?
Yes. Specifically because you have a latent demand, I would say, because of all these leaks. I think you have seen... Hold on. You asked. Let me finish. Twofold. I think you're going to have a head and a tail to the PS5 Pro sales. The tail is not going to be because of anything Sony. It's going to be because of GTA 6. Everybody's going to want to play GTA 6 in 8K ray tracing. You're going to want to see every strand of hair on her head.
Yep.
Right. I think the head is going to be demand has stayed relatively the same. However, now with the rumors coming out, and there's been Pro rumors for a year, people do this with phones where halfway through a phone, you don't buy the new phone, you just wait until the next one comes out, where I feel like a lot of people who want the PlayStation are saying that Pro's coming, why don't I just get the Pro? Why don't I just get the Pro when it comes out? You know what I mean? Because you have all those people, the scalpers, now all the scalpers are going to come back, and the bots, that's what's going to happen.
Scalpers and the bots.
Oh, I can't. Oh my God. I'm licking my chops.
Cannot wait for them in the comment. I completely forgot about that. That was like one of our first reels ever. And it just popped off for 250K views because you said that scalpers were imaginary.
They are, they were, and they always will be.
Insane take.
The scalpers bought 900 PS5. Jacob, shut up. That's not how it works.
We are going to take it
again?
into...
Let me just get ahead of this. PS5 Pro comes out. Let's say it's $600 because of inflation. Okay? Yep. $600. Now, for a brief period of time, you may not be able to find a PS5 Pro. Would you agree, Matt? Okay. So the secondary market for them will increase. You can pay $750, $900, $1,000 for a PS, whatever. And then over time, more PS5 Pros will come to the market, right? The supply is increasing. All these scalpers, all the bots are now holding a depreciating asset. So what are you going to do? Sell it for what you bought it for pennies on the dollar? No, Jacob, that's not how it works. You don't buy 700 PS5 Pros.
And listen, like I understand the scalping and the bots and everything. I just think the profit margin outside of the first wave of the PlayStation's life cycle is, if you could get 1,000 PlayStations the day it releases, you'll make some money. You'll make a good amount of money.
But hold on.
If you get it after the second shipment, you're screwed.
You got a lot of depreciating inventory. My question though is, I think you're going to see, because they know the demand behind it, I think you're going to see, Jim Ryan's big kudos is that he got PlayStation 5 out during COVID, and in the way he did, I think you're going to see, now that they know what is in store for them, a huge supply pump on these.
And also, I think they just can't, and not necessarily that it was bad PR, but you could not get a PS5 for a long time because of the COVID shortages. They're going to make sure that doesn't happen.
All the bots got COVID.
Yeah, all the bots got COVID. That's what they're going to tell everybody.